Hello and welcome. Zhiguli travel is in Canterbury. There are multiple sites in Canterbury that are related to British medieval history and earlier. Its buildings, churches, towers, gardens and gates are located on the streets with provincial charm along the old city walls. Take this self-guided tour to enjoy a day out in Canterbury and visit some of the most significant historic objects in England. We will be using GPSmycity App to help us navigate the city. GPSmycity offers 4 different self-guided walking tours in Canterbury to help you explore the city. Today we will follow the Canterbury Introduction Walk. For a full detailed walk, check the GPSmycity app. Our first stop, Canterbury Cathedral. The cathedral precinct comprised the core of the medieval town of Canterbury. It's one of England's largest cathedrals and the centre of the Church of England. It was founded in 600 AD by St. Augustine, dedicated to Christ the Saviour, and is the seat of the Archbishop of Canterbury. The original structures were burned down. The present cathedral core was built in 1174. There have been many alterations in the cathedral structure for the past 900 years, but the choir music and some of the windows and their stained glass date from 12th century. The cathedral exterior immediately impresses by its size. Its structure has Latin cross plan, Romanesque and Gothic features for the exterior and interior designs. There are invaluable treasures like Norman crypt with the intriguing carvings atop the columns. Right next to it is the Old Palace. It belongs to the precincts of the Canterbury Cathedral. It dates from the 11th century. The palace served as a residence for many archbishops and it still remains. The building once housed the Parliament since 1647 during the English Civil War. Then it got the previous status of the Bishop's Palace and was rebuilt at the end of the 19th century. Just outside Cathedral Visitors Centre there is the Old Buttermarket. This large pub is situated on Buttermarket Square, which is over 800 years old. It is a very busy place close to the main entrance of the cathedral. The Old Buttermarket is a traditional British pub with a modern feel, in a house built upon Roman remains. There are plenty of outdoor tables and indoor seats. St. Thomas Roman Catholic Church is situated close to Canterbury Cathedral on Burgate Street. It was completed and consecrated in 1875 by Cardinal Manning. Church architecture can be referred to as Neo-Gothic style. Its facades, clad in Kentish rag and Bath stone, are decorated with the images of St. Thomas and 2 angels on each side set in niches. On a wall on the bell tower there is a massive relief representing the significant event of St. Thomas Church. Heading west we will find St. Augustine's Abbey. St. Augustine found a monastery outside the town walls to the east of Canterbury in about 598 AD. Its building marked a significant restoration of Christianity to the south of England. It is one of the oldest monastic sites in the country. Originally it was used as a graveyard for the kings of Kent and archbishops of Canterbury. Next stop, up the Longport Road, is St. Martin's Church. The Church of St. Martin in Canterbury is England's oldest parish church in continuous use. It is one of the 3 World Heritage Sites in Canterbury, along with Canterbury Cathedral and St. Augustine's Abbey. Since 1668, St. Martin's has been part of the benefice of St. Martin and St. Paul, Canterbury. Both St. Martin's and nearby St. Paul's churches are used for weekly services. Going back to city centre, we will find St. George's Clocktower. The tower of St. George's Church is situated on St. George's Street inside the old town walls. It was the bell tower of the large and antique church of St. George the Martyr. The name of St. George refers to the construction of the church in the late 7th century. So it could have been the very first church in this location. It also has remains of Norman work in the lower part of the tower and the west door. Just a short walk away we will find Dane John Gardens. This is a historic park on the inside of the city walls on the southwestern side of Canterbury. It was founded in 1551. In 1790s, the park was laid out into formal gardens. In 1999, renovation of the Dane Gardens was completed. These award-winning gardens have lawns, flower borders, many mature trees, bandstands, playground with small fortress, and an alley of lime trees and a prominent fountain. The Canterbury Tales attraction is housed in the historic building of St. Margaret's Church. It is situated on St. Margaret's Street, several blocks southwest of Canterbury Cathedral. Kent's most mentioned attraction has stories written by Geoffrey Chaucer of the 14th century. It's a reconstruction of medieval England. Visitors perceive the sights, sounds, and smells of a medieval environment. Greyfriars Chapel and the Franciscan Gardens. Franciscan Friary was founded on the site of the west part of the town on the branch of the River Stour. In the middle of 13th century, monks built their conventual houses here. The only house that survived, named Greyfriars Chapel, represents the remains of these buildings of Monterite friars, the first English Franciscan friary. Next few stops located on a busy high street. Eastbridge Hospital established its foundation in the last decade of the 12th century. The establishment was patronized by the Archbishop of Canterbury. This old stone building stands on the busy high street beside the River Stour. It was a place of hospitality that served as a shelter and support for pilgrims, infirm persons, the poor and homeless, local associations and scholars. Today the hospital is a center of tourist interest. Old Weaver's House, dating from at least 14th century and reconstructed in the 16th, this must be one of the most photographed historic buildings in Canterbury and one of the top riverside pubs in Kent. Having survived the World War II German bombing campaign, its timber-framed front can be easily spotted on St. Peter's Street. The Old Weaver's House takes its name from hundreds of Huguenots and Walloons who settled in the area after fleeing religious persecution in the 16th-17th centuries in France and the Low Countries. Westgate Tower beside the river served as a medieval fortified gatehouse when pilgrims flocked through it on the way to Thomas A. Becket's tomb. This 20-metre-high gate of Kentish ragstone is the largest remaining gate of Canterbury's 7 medieval gates. The present towers, more than 6 centuries old, replace the Roman ones and houses 100-year-old museum. Our last stop, the Tower House and the Westgate Gardens. The present Tower House is an early Victorian structure, supposedly built in the middle of the 19th century, but the exact date is uncertain. It sits at the south end of the Westgate Gardens, a splendid small area along the banks of River Stour, starting at the city West Gate. This castle-like house was the residence of Catherine Williamson, Canterbury's first female mayor. After her death, the house and the 11 acres of surrounding gardens were donated to the city. Today, it's the mayor's administrative headquarters. The gardens are an ideal place for a gentle stroll along the river banks, and they contain many archaeological remains like traces of a Roman wall. It features colourful plantings, flower beds, neatly trimmed lawns, and a curious oriental plane tree with an enormous trunk said to be one of the largest in Britain. There is a superb old medieval archway that probably led to St. Augustine's Abbey in the 19th century. We hope you enjoyed this walking tour of Canterbury, and we are looking forward for you to join us on our next adventure in the near future. Take care, guys!